Hey everyone, it's Justin again. So tonight we're going to get really ready to start tilling this thing. Last night we did our ripping basically underneath where we figured the corn rows are going to be to help break up that compaction and get down the moisture. So we did that last night. Everything's been kind of here drying throughout the day. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to take the tiller. And with the tiller, we're not really going to follow a specific row or anything. We're going to do the whole width and length of the garden bed where we're going to put the corn. But the idea is to basically get everything broke up and get everything smoothed out, so then that way we can kind of let it dry, get the root balls separated, get them out of there, and then maybe till this thing one more time before we plant corn. So with that said, we'll do this tonight. We'll do it here and up on the hill, and then once we're done, we're going to kind of go through and walk around and look at it. And then we should also get our samples tonight so we can send those out to find out what we're deficient in as far as nutrients and what we need. Like I was saying before in the first video, I think it's lime. But lime isn't the only key. Lime is kind of the thing that helps all the other nutrients work, as well as obviously it's the pH balance of the soil, whether it's alkaline or acidic. Corn, I believe, should be around 6.5 to 7. So we got to find out where we're at. Throughout the years, I put not too much, but I put down nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium through here. And so those are your kind of your main NPK ingredients when it comes to your fertilizers, your 3 numbers. A lot of it was just straight triple 12. Your straight nitrogen is usually like a 27 or 30 00. Nitrogen being the first number. And so we're going to go ahead and get this tilled up tonight, and we'll see what it looks like. that thing idle a little bit. Still got to do the hill. And as you can see, it all kind of broke down real nice. This stuff was really hard. I'm glad it's as broke up as it's been throughout the past couple of years. I wish it would have got jumped on it a couple months ago because it would have went way easier. But as you can see, it kind of got the big stuff knocked down. There's some spots I'm going to have to go back over, but we'll do that with our second pass once we get the big root balls and stuff that are laying on top out of here. But overall, it looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and we'll move up to the hill. We'll get set up there, and we'll make our first pass up there. Okay, we've got the tiller all set up here on the hill off to my right. You can't see it from this part of the frame, but you'll be able to see me go back and forth pretty well for the length of it in good shape. So the idea here is the same thing. We're going to go back and forth, knock down all the high spots, try to till it up the best we can, kind of get everything evened out, and we'll see what it looks like when we're done. You also will get to enjoy this part of the beautiful sunset at the same time. Alright, well, we can let that idle for a minute before we shut it off. But in case you probably noticed, and I'm sure you got a couple questions. One, how is he so handsome? And I'll tell you, it's kind of hard, but I make it work. Two, who runs tillage in moccasins? Well, I do, and why wouldn't you use moccasins? They're awesome. And three, yes, this did till up easier than this lower part because this area is a little bit loamier than the lower section, and it's always worked up easier, breaks down a lot finer, it just lays a lot nicer. So this up here is going to be real easy to get ready to go. And going back to what I was saying before, let's go ahead and turn this off. You always want to let air-cooled stuff kind of run for a minute just to kind of keep cooling off because it's only cooled by a fan on the side of the engine. But as I was saying, this stuff is always done the best because I believe it's loamier and it drains better, and so that corn and whatever else can get better access to the nutrients. So that's why we rip both spots, and we're going to try to do our best to make this piece like this up here. So let's go ahead and change camera angles here, and we'll take a walk through this and take a look at it. Okay, And now back to our sort of normally scheduled programming here with this view instead of watching me walk back and forth with a tillage instrument. So we're going to go ahead and walk through this. As you can see, it looks really good from here. So does this section down here. It looks a lot better, obviously. And so we're going to go ahead and walk through and kind of talk about our spots we want to use for picking our soil samples. Basically, I'm just going to pick like one or, well, not one, but 2 or 3 spots throughout each one of these plots because it's billed per sample. And so I don't want to spend too much money, but I do want to get good data on what I have going on here. And so we're going to go ahead and walk through and I'll talk about what I'm seeing and we'll go from there. Okay, moccasin view. So as you can see, this stuff looks really good. We'll go ahead and get down here and you can see like how nice that all just lays out. You know, it was rock hard and everything before, and now it just looks so much better laid out right here. So this stuff here is really nice. If I were to come through and just do one more finishing pass on this with the tiller set shallow and all these root balls are out of the way, this would lay out really good and it'd be ready to go. But we're going to go ahead and let these root balls dry down. We're going to get our soil samples coming. And I'll have to go through and kind of hit a couple spots. I'm sure you guys noticed me kind of wavering with the tiller a little bit on some high spots. So I got to go back through and try to get those. But for the most part, this came out really good. It looks really good. It's got some good moisture to it. I think we'll be able to get some seeds in here and get them germinated within the next week. And hopefully we'll get some rainfall events shortly after, because that's ideal. And I think we'll be in good shape once we find out what we need to from these soil samples. Now, one other thing I want to talk about with this is, you know, I just used a tiller, right? Well, as some of you may know, or some of you may not know, the rotating action of the tiller actually causes compaction at the very bottom where it's rotating down and coming back up. And so, you know, I just spent the time to go through with a ripper and try to loosen up my compaction, but then I just went through and used the tiller and kind of gave myself some more compaction. Now, obviously not as much as I had. However, it is some, but it's kind of the only option we had for making this all nice. I don't have a nice no-till planter to plant my corn seed with, so unfortunately, this is kind of what we got. Not to mention, as hard as this was, you really couldn't do it. You could do it, but it really wouldn't be very good. You would almost want like a nice, soft, kind of damp layer of grass or something on top to kind of cut through and put down your seed instead. So with that said, let's go ahead and walk down here to the other section. Take our nice leisurely walk through our hope to be awesome sweet corn beds with the amazing sunset behind us. And look at this. So you can see how this is a lot clumpier and harder. It didn't break down as nice. It broke down pretty good, but as you can see, it doesn't lay as nice in my hand. It's a lot clumpier. This is a lot heavier clay content than up there. So loamier being, it has not necessarily more organic matter, but it has more aggregates in it, sand, or obviously not stones being down here, but just different makeups of the soil that help it drain water, not compact so hard, and just become this immovable, impassable piece of clay like this here. So you think this is a stone that this stuff turns into. Down here, it's a lot heavier clay, and so it breaks up harder, doesn't lay as nice, and it doesn't drain as well. But this is what we have being in southern Indiana. So it's really rich soil. Everything really does do well. But it's just kind of getting it to that point is where the work comes in. So that's how this piece looks here. And so as far as soil sample areas, I think this one here, we're gonna do it a couple spots. We'll do it about here in this area, kind of this front third. And then we'll do it back here where it usually kind of lays kind of wet and stuff, just to see what this looks like. So we'll do a couple here. And then up here on this hill, this has always been pretty consistent. I could probably just do one and get an idea. But I think we might do 2 or 3 up here, one in the middle, one in each end, or maybe just a couple, and to see, it'll give us a real good idea of what we're working with here. And so I think that'll be our best plan as far as soil samples go. And would you just look at the sunset? Would you? it's pretty amazing. Pretty blessed to have the spot I have because I get to see that every night and work in it. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at now is after everything has been hit with its first pass with a tiller. Okay, so I got my soil samples I went ahead and took. So I saved you guys the me watching me pick up dirt out of the ground and put it in the bag. Yeah, I mean, I call it dirt, it's soil. That's the technical term for it. But so what we're going to go ahead and do is I got 2 samples from each spot, basically the one front third and the back third of each spot, kind of from left to right. And so we're going to go ahead and send these out. And I'm going to send them out for not only a nutrient test, but also if the laboratory I chose has it or offers it, and I believe they do, I'm going to get the organic soil content, I believe is what it is, test. And so basically it gives you a measurement of the organic and life forms. I say life forms like bacteria and stuff like that are in your soil, and it kind of gives you a rating. And so, a lot of this soil that you see, that's all farmland and whatnot, when it doesn't have a crop in it, it looks pretty barren. And that's because there's not a whole lot that's going on there. If you were to go ahead and take and look for earthworms in a lot of those fields, a lot of them, you wouldn't find any. And that's because there's not a whole lot going on. Earthworms eat the microbes and whatnot that are in the soil. And so one of the things I strive for here and what I'm doing is to try to maintain some sort of healthy soil composition. So whether that's the addition of manure or some sort of compost or whatnot, then that's what we're going to do. Because in the end, all of that mycology and everything that's put together is what makes this whole thing work. And it works with the plants and helps them keep them healthy and get the nutrients they need and everything like that. And there's a whole lot into it. I'm no expert, but please, if you're interested in that, check out No Tilling and, talking about the organic soil content that's in the soil. And you can kind of learn a whole lot about that. And so I got these here. I'm going to go ahead and send these in, and we're going to see what we got going on with our soil. And then that'll help us make the choices we need to as far as amendments in nutrients or fertilizers or whatnot to have hopefully our best corn yet, even though it's starting late. We'll see what happens. But here we go. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through, we got everything tilled. We talked about what our game plan is as far as soil samples and how we're looking at things here. We're going to go ahead and let this stuff rest for a few days. It's nothing but sunshine in the forecast, and this will help kind of get these root balls kind of broke down and dried up, and I can get them tossed out of the garden. That'll be some manual labor. I could use a little bit. But what I wanted to talk about here is I wanted to say, for all you folks that have been watching and commented and have kind of reached out to me, whatnot, I really appreciate it, because this here has been a lot of fun just kind of making these. And so having these to make and then get them out for you guys to watch and ask questions or whatever has been awesome. So please, feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, any good criticisms or tips or anything that you can give me would be most welcome. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like the video if you like it. You can even dislike it if you don't like it. Share it with your friends or anybody you may know that might enjoy something like this. But your comments and the subscriptions let me know that you guys like this. I don't get anything from it. Obviously, I'm just starting out here, but it just gives me an idea to know that what I'm doing is something that you folks like. And so with that said, I talked about this in my first episode. I am not no expert by any means. This is meant to be me trying to learn and come up with what I feel are kind of the best ways to approach what I'm working with here, trying to learn from where I can in different practices and techniques and try to make something really cool here. And like I said, the title of my first video, my affinity for growing sweet corn. I don't know what it is. I really like sweet corn. I like a lot of other vegetables. But for whatever reason, having corn all up in rows and it being so delicious to boot is awesome. And so I just like growing it. And so that's where we're at with this stuff here. So like I said, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching so far, everybody who's commented or liked or shared, and please keep it up. Please let me know if you want to see anything different. Once we kind of get everything in place and growing here, the videos as far as this is concerned is going to slow down a little bit, obviously, because stuff's growing. It'll just be me kind of tending to it. But there's a whole lot of other things I want to do, and I would like to take you guys with me that have to do with the outdoors and doing different things. So we'll see how everything progresses from there. But for tonight, this is going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and go in and shower because I'm a sweaty pig now, and I just got tossed around by a tiller. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'll get this uploaded, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.